So everyone. The Mishnah Novos teaches us that the greatness of Avraham Avinu was that he was Omed B'Nisyonos. He withstood all the challenges. The Meforshim list the 10 innumerable challenges that Avraham faced. So the Mishnah seems to indicate that that's the reason why Avraham is chosen to be the father of the Jewish people. That's his main characteristic. That's his merit. That's his character, that he's Omed B'Nisyonos. So we can ask, Avraham is not the only one that we find in the opening chapters of the Chumash that was Omed B'Nisyonos. And we'll find later, Lot is Omed B'Nisyonos, and Noach. What greater nisayon could there be than what faced Noah? And that doesn't seem to redound in their favor. But by Avraham Avinu, the nisyonot and his ability to rise to the challenge seems to be the main facet of his character and of his merit. So there's an idea here that's expressed. What is a nisayon? A challenge, a test. We are faced every day with it. If you operate a business, you give the customer the correct change. So that's a nisayon. Every step in life is a nisayon, is a challenge. So what made this special? What's the contributing factor that makes Avraham Avinu over and above all other people that also face nisyonot? So there's one idea, which in my opinion has great depth to it. There are people that go into nisyonot and they are confident that they will not be harmed. In fact, that's true of most of us. I'm confident I'm going to give the correct change. I'm not a ganef. I'm confident that I'm not going to behave immorally. Something that you're confident removes it from the level of a nisayon. A nisayon is when you are not confident. When you don't know what's going to happen. But we find that, for instance, by the story of Avraham Avinu in Ur Kasdim. So Avraham is thrown into the furnace, and he emerges. So his brother Horam, who was on the sidelines, says, I see that he was saved, that God saves people that are willing to enter the furnace. So he entered the furnace and he was destroyed. Because if you're certain that you're going to have a miracle or you're going to have a supernatural experience, so that's not a nisayon. A nisayon is when you are uncertain. And all of the nisyonos of Avraham Avinu deal with uncertainty. He's not promised that he won't be consumed by the fire of Ur-Kasdim. He's not promised Lech Lecha that it's going to turn out good for him. In fact, at the beginning, it turns out to be just the opposite. He's not assured that he will win the war against the kings. He certainly is not assured that his prayers on behalf of Zdom will be accepted. You see, they are not. So a nisayon is built on uncertainty, on the fact that we cannot say in confidence that things will turn out the way we want them to. That's the whole story of the Akedah. He does not offer Yitzchak with the understanding that somehow Yitzchak is going to be saved. Because if he did that, that would not be an nisayon. So by Noach is assured that the ark will save him. So to him, it's not a nisayon. So all the nisyonot of Avraham Avinu are based on uncertainty. He doesn't know that Paro will give back Sorah. Why should Paro do that? So all of his life, he lives with uncertainty. What is the only antidote to uncertainty? So the Torah tells us, "Ve'emin b'Hashem, ha'yachsheveh lo tzedakah," is that faith in God. Faith in God doesn't mean that things will turn out the way I want them to turn out. Faith in God is that the Lord controls the universe and that his will dominates, and that somehow in the master plan, this has to happen and it'll be good. So, for instance, in our generation, or in my generation, I began my rabbinic career speaking to people 40 years younger than me. Now I speak to people that are much younger than me. So how do you know how things are going to turn out? You don't. We're in the midst of a war. We don't know how it's going to turn out. We hope for the best. We pray for the best. But there's no certainty here. It's not cut and dried that this is going to happen. So we said the piyut on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sisra Yosher. The hidden things of God are correct. Uloso emes. What he does, true. But we say, Atzoso emuno. What is the advice that we can give that we should be able to function? Well, the only advice is emunah, faith. So it's not the nisyonos, so to speak, that differentiate Avraham Avinu. We can make a list of 10 nisyonos that Noach faced. It's the reaction to the nisyonos, the ability to live with uncertainty, to realize that things can happen that are not necessarily the way we think they should be. And therefore, puloso emes, whatever the Ribono Shel Olam does is true and correct. And that's based upon faith. A situation where a person does not require faith is not a nisayon. That's not counted as a challenge to him. Now, he may be wrong. His assessment may be wrong. But without faith, it's not a nisayon. Without the possibility that it will not turn out the way I want it to turn out. And so only that raises it to the level of nisayon. And so that's really the story of Avraham Avinu throughout this parsha and next week's parsha. He doesn't know how it's going to turn out. There's no Avimelech and the king of Sodom. I don't know. Who knows how that's going to turn out? But because Be'emin B'Hashem, he believed, he had faith, so then Vayachshaveh Lo Tzedakah, so they counted it as a merit. And therefore, that's why the Asor and the Nisyonos of Avraham Avinu are sufficient to raise him to the level of being the father of a people that always face Nisyonos and nevertheless are always able to retain the idea of emunah, of faith. And that alone is a merit for all matters that fall upon us. Rabbi Chananya ben Akash Omer Rotzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'Zaka Tzis Yisrael V'Chichal Chirva Lahem Torah Mitzvos Shnei Mar Adonai Chavei Siman Sitko Yagil